All right, let's jump right into this explainer. We're going to equip you with absolutely everything you need to know to survive the 2026 flight cancellation crisis and keep your hard-earned money right where it belongs, in your pocket. Look, if you're planning to fly at all this year, you already know the travel scene is, well, it's pretty unpredictable right now. We're seeing this massive wave of disruptions catching thousands totally off guard. But by the end of this, you'll have the exact strategies and legal know-how to walk away fully protected when chaos strikes. So, picture this. You're stranded at the airport, staring up at that departure board, and bam, your flight flashes red. Canceled. Seconds later, your phone buzzes. It's the airline app offering you a full cash refund with just one quick tap. Honestly, it feels like a total relief in the moment, right? Get your money back, figure it out later. But wait, is hitting that button actually a massive mistake? Turns out that one quick tap could literally cost you hundreds, maybe even thousands of pounds in lost benefits.
And that brings us to this wildly counterintuitive warning from consumer champion Martin Lewis, which was recently highlighted in a brilliant report by Londoner News. Honestly, this piece of advice could literally save your holiday. He points out that the exact second you accept that cash refund, the airline completely washes its hands of you. Their legal duty to help you? Gone. It just vanishes into thin air, leaving you to fend for yourself in a very expensive airport.
So, here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The 2026 flight cancellation crisis. 2. Martin Lewis's warning on refunds. 3. Extraordinary circumstances explained. 4. DIY holidays versus tour operators. And 5. Exactly how to claim your compensation.
All right, diving into Section 1, the 2026 flight cancellation crisis.
Right now, some of the absolute biggest players in the industry are actively slashing their transatlantic and short-haul routes. Based on data from Crystal Travel, we're seeing airlines like Delta pulling back significantly on UK routes. JetBlue has completely stopped its transatlantic service to London Gatwick. And British Airways? They've canceled several transatlantic flights out of Heathrow. For us passengers, this means far fewer options, squeezed capacity, and yeah, you guessed it, much higher airfares.
Now, you might be wondering why this is happening. The crucial point here is that it's not just random bad luck or terrible management by the airlines. Carriers are basically being forced to axe these routes because they just aren't economically viable anymore. Why? Severely disrupted global oil supplies. The ongoing geopolitical conflict in the Middle East has sent jet fuel prices absolutely skyrocketing. And since fuel is a massive chunk of an airline's running costs, they literally cannot afford to fly half-empty planes or keep these marginal routes going.
Moving right along to Section 2, Martin Lewis is warning on refunds. Okay, so here is the exact trap airlines are hoping you fall for. Under UK law and EU Regulation 261, you actually have a choice. If you panic and take that cash refund we talked about, the airline's legal duty to you ends right then and there. You're totally on your own to book a new, probably crazy expensive last-minute flight, plus pay for your own food and hotel. But, and this is a huge but, if you demand an alternative flight instead, the law forces the airline to provide a duty of care. That means they have to pay for your meals, put you up in a hotel, and reroute you to your destination. It's a total game changer.
The catch is, airlines aren't exactly going to volunteer to pay for your extra hotel nights. In fact, they might conveniently forget to mention these rights to you altogether. As Martin Lewis constantly reminds consumers, if you don't claim, you don't get. You have to know your rights and actively demand them. You're legally protected, absolutely, but you've got to be your own biggest advocate when you're standing there at the customer service desk.
Which brings us to Section 3, Extraordinary Circumstances Explained.
So under the law, airlines actually have to pay you additional cash compensation for long delays or cancellations, unless, that is, the disruption was caused by an extraordinary circumstance. This basically means events that are completely beyond the airline's control. But here's the thing. As legal experts often point out, airlines absolutely love to stretch the definition of that phrase just to avoid paying out the cash you're owed.
Let's look at what a true extraordinary circumstance actually is. If your flight gets grounded because of some massive, unexpected storm or an air traffic control strike completely shuts down the airspace, or even a manufacturer recalling a whole fleet of planes, okay, the airline really isn't at fault there. Those are genuine, extraordinary circumstances. In those specific cases, while you still have the right to a new flight and a hotel, you aren't going to get that extra lump sum of delay compensation.
But here's where it gets interesting. Airlines frequently try to blame delays on stuff like their own staff calling in sick, known technical glitches with the aircraft, or even their own pilots going on strike. Well, guess what? Landmark court cases have ruled that these things are entirely within the airline's operational control. If they try to deny your claim using these excuses, they're dead wrong, and you are fully entitled to claim your compensation.
And passenger rights advocates are fighting incredibly hard to keep these protections ironclad. A recent submission to the Aviation Industry Ombud Scheme highlights a really crucial point. Whether you're traveling for some urgent business meeting your company paid for, or you're a family just trying to get away on a summer holiday, you are equally inconvenienced by a cancellation. Period. Every single passenger has the exact same right to hold the airline accountable and seek a proper remedy.
All right, on to Section 4, DIY holidays versus tour operators. You know, the internet gave us the rise of the DIY holiday. Booking a cheap budget flight on one site, snagging a hotel on another, it feels great, right? Super liberating. But here is the massive risk. If you book a DIY holiday and that cheap flight gets canceled, your separately booked hotel has absolutely zero legal obligation to refund you. You could literally lose the entire cost of your stay. On the flip side, booking a full package through a traditional tour operator links your whole trip together. It's financially protected. If the flight fails, the operator has to either sort the whole thing out or refund the entire package.
It really all comes down to the math. We usually assume DIY is way cheaper, but travel experts are seeing a major shift heading into 2026. Sure, a budget flight and separate hotel might look cheaper at first glance, but once you tack on those hidden fees, like paying £60 to £100 per person just to bring a suitcase on a budget airline, the price skyrockets. When you run the final numbers, a fully protected package holiday that already includes your bags and transfers often ends up costing the exact same price. Plus, it comes with zero financial risk to you.
And finally, Section 5, how to claim your compensation. Okay, so how do we actually do this? Step 1, be proactive. Do not sit around waiting for the airline to call you. Check your route directly before you head out. Step 2, if you are disrupted and you demand that alternative flight, keep every single receipt for any food and hotels you have to pay for out of pocket. You're going to need those to claim the cash back. Step 3, use the official claim forms straight on the airline's website instead of handing over a huge cut of your money to third-party claims companies. And Step 4, if they falsely reject your claim by trying to pull the extraordinary circumstance card for something like staff sickness, push back, quote the law, do not give up. Look, with 2026 shaping up to be a wildly unpredictable year for travel thanks to global economics and airline cutbacks, keeping this consumer survival guide in mind is absolutely vital. Understanding the difference between just accepting a quick refund and demanding your legal right to an alternative flight, that's literally the difference between being stranded and out of pocket versus having the airline actually pick up the tab for your hotel. To stay completely on top of breaking flight cancellations, route changes, and to get vital financial advice exactly like the Martin Lewis strategy we just covered, you'll definitely want to check out the full guide at londoner.news/Martin-Lewis-flight cancellation advice. And make sure to follow Londoner.news for their live 24/7 updates. They're doing some incredible work keeping passengers informed. So next time you're standing there staring at a red cancellation board, you gotta ask yourself, are you gonna let the airlines quietly keep your money, or are you gonna use this knowledge to stand up and claim exactly what you are legally